Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Muy buenas noches y bienvenidos al Tiempo para la Verdad. Hoy tenemos un programa especial que viene de Guatemala, donde hay muchos amigos míos ahí luchando por nuestras familias, por nuestros jóvenes, contra una maldad, una maldición que se llama las drogas. So, Buda, por favor, si pones las imágenes de nuestro huésped en el show hoy por la noche, por favor, el señor Tony Mendez. Tony is a Guatemalan-born drug education program director of Juvenile Intervention Program. And I'm going to do this show a little bit in Spanish, a little bit in English, in honor of all my friends in Latin America and in America. His family migrated to Southern California in 1976, where Tony's father worked as a pastor. Tony started school at Buford Elementary and then Felton Junior High School. And while in junior high school, he went in the wrong direction and got involved in gangs. He was afraid to say no to drugs and started smoking marijuana. At 18 years of age, he had his first felony. And from 1985 to 2002, Mr. Mendez went to jail some 20 times for drug-related crimes. To try to discipline himself, he tried to join the army, realizing that he needed to change. But unfortunately, with the laws and regulations the way they were, he wasn't allowed to join because of his felony record, and he felt crushed and worthless, hopeless. He got involved in more drinking, drugs, and gang life. But in 2002, Tony decided to change and help his wife and 2-year-old son. And this is what he said: I was tired of running away from reality and always being unhappy. I made a final and truthful decision. I was going to make a difference in my life and help others. Unfortunately, at 24 years of age, his father was dying. Tony dedicated every minute he could to being with him during those last sorrowful days. Upon his death, Tony again felt crushed and got involved in drugs as a solution. Part of this, he was deported back to Guatemala, and upon arriving back in his home country, he saw a scene with 8 and 11-year-old children in gangs and on drugs. And so he decided to found his program, the Juvenile Intervention Program, a program that steers youth away from drugs and crime through life skill classes, school tutoring, and field trips to the jail and morgue to get reality with the kids. Subsequently, he discovered the Foundation for a Drug-Free World International when he was searching for information on drugs and solutions. Now, 16 years later, using the Foundation for Drug-Free World Materials, Mr. Mendez hasn't touched a drug, and he's a great leader and teacher and making good on his decision to help others and those children in need and those youth. In asking him his goals and ambitions, he says this: he wants to be in every school, in every city in Guatemala. He says, when I see the kids hungry for knowledge, and they come to me and willing to hear me out, or when they call me when they have problems, then he says, I know I am making a difference. He says, I do this because I see myself in every kid that calls out for help, because everybody deserves a second chance. Absolutely, Mr. Tony Mendez, I agree with you. Everyone needs a second chance and deserves it. Mr. Mendez goes on to say, my plans are to have this program in every city and be known in every school and go to all other Central American countries. It is my dream for this program to get out even farther and wider and impact more people. On a wonderful note, he's remarried and has a young son and has another one that was on his way or may have been born by now. Mr. Mendez has partnered with many other organizations, including the Red de Derivación Villanueva, an organization of lawyers and captains of the police department delivering the truth about drugs lectures. He himself has mentored 42,000 youth in 72 schools and gets calls every day from parents who want their kids in his program. He visits prison youth that wouldn't listen and ended up in jail. And he continues his mission to help them get their lives back as he has. So, Buddha, por favor, pon el Señor Tony Mendez on the screen for all of us to share. Welcome, Tony. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ben.
My pleasure. I'm going to do a little bit in Spanish, a little bit in English, because you know, both of us, you and me, we have the same background. We came from Latin America. We came to the United States. I've gone back at times on trips. You're there now also. That's how we met. We're doing drug education. So I want you, because you've got such a real heartbreaking story and heartwarming how it's turning out. I want you to share with our viewers and maybe those kids out there who are watching what it was like when you were a young kid and what pressured you when you were young and that you couldn't say no to the drugs and you got involved in the gangs.
Well, one of the reasons I actually I couldn't say no, first of all, to my friends, and wanted to try it out because I didn't know what they meant or what it was. Actually, the knowledge, I didn't know anything about that, the drugs. So I knew that marijuana was will get you high, but that's about it. And trying it out for the first time, hanging out with my friends, supposedly I was doing a good thing, but then I started doing other drugs like cocaine, and that's when everything went down. When I got caught, actually, by the police, I was 18 years old, and I was already addicted to cocaine, marijuana. I was smoking crack, you know, and when I got busted and I went to jail, I said to myself, I did a year and a half, and I said to myself, that's it. I ain't gonna do it no more. I'm gonna change. I was willing to change, but the reaction of the society that gave me a kick in the back. Um, Actually, when I went to the recruiting office and I told them, you know, I want to change my life, and I passed all the tests. But then when he saw that I had a felony, he didn't actually he didn't tell me, you know what, Tony, why don't you go and sponge the your felony? You know, try to take it out of your record, and then you can come back. He didn't say that. He said you're worthless. And I came out of that place crying. You know, I wanted to join the military. And I remember looking back and looking at the office coming out. And I told myself, that's right. Okay. I said, if they say that I'm worthless, well, I am. And that's when I started just 18, 19, 20, 21, started doing more drugs, being in gangs, doing illegal stuff, and going back in jail. Went back and forth 15 years because of that, because of that mentality that I had. And every time that I wanted to change my life, the drugs were there. I was, I couldn't face them and say no. It took me about 16 years for me to realize that, but I had done so many things. I had became a drug addict. I became a drug dealer. You know, my father passed away, and I felt worthless at that point when my dad, you know, he was everything to me. And when I let him down, the depression, the drugs, everything came back. And I started doing it over and over again until I hit bottom when I did 6 years in jail. In 2001, when I came out, I said to myself, you know what? That's it. No more. No matter what. And I did. Since 2001, I came back. Uh, they deported me, and I came back to the United States, and I said, no, this is it. And I did 9 years. I was I was I was illegal 9 years. I had only 1 year to go. And in 2009, I had my life back. I have my wife. I had a house. I had bought a $450,000 house. Everything legal. I was doing great. I had two security agencies. And in 2009, as I was driving my Hummer, which God gave me that Hummer, and I was driving it when suddenly the cop saw me. I don't know what it was, but actually he saw me and he pulled me over. And I had a warrant because I didn't show up to my probation officer. But how I couldn't show up to probation office because I had been deported.
Wow.
See, so I had a warrant for my address for my arrest since 2001.
Wow.
So I was there in 2009, doing great. I was under the radar. I was even I was even I'm not gonna mention the station because I don't want to get it in trouble. But um, I was in one county, San Bernardino County, and I was helping the sheriff's station. You know, I was helping the fire department. I have pictures because I had changed my life. I wanted to be who I really wanted to be. I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to be a good citizen. But the drugs brought everything down. And when in 2009, when he stopped me, I was I was pulling up over on my driveway. I mean, amazing, beautiful home. I mean, I never expected him to pull me over for what? He didn't even have a reason. But when he pulled me over, I had that warning. He goes, "I'm sorry." He said, "I have to take you in." That's the last time I saw my son.
Wow.
I had a divorce. I went a year into immigration jail, fighting my case. I couldn't do it anymore, so they sent me back. I lost my son. So when I went back in 2009, I said to myself, no matter where I go, if they send me to China, if they send me anywhere, I'm going to do good. And I'm going to show everybody that I can do it. And even though the drugs were here, even though everything, was going down the hill because I didn't know nobody here in Guatemala at all. I didn't know nobody. Not even the language. I mean, I practically, my first language is English, and I started learning Spanish. But 3 months after that, I met, which is my wife now. In 2009, I met her 3 months because of my grandma that had injured herself, and I needed somebody to take care of her. And I became a bodyguard, you know, and my new life started there. I have my ID, which is DPI right here in Guatemala, and I had my license, and everything started over. And I started seeing that, this was a place that I had to start my life. And then one day I saw this little kid come up, and he told me, "Can I get some food?" And I looked at him and I said, "Sit down." I said, "What are you doing here?" And I started preaching to him, telling him, "What are you doing? Why are you why are you asking for food? Where's your mom?" And that's where the program started,
Wow.
juvenile intervention program. And I said, "This is what I got to do." And from that moment in 2013, my life changed dramatically. I I subscribed the program, and one day I was going to schools, and actually, Dr. Ben, the the number you're seeing right there of 42 of 42,000 kids, it's
Uh-huh.
300,000 kids now.
Wow.
I 300,000 kids. And
Wow.
well, as I as I as I did the program, actually, I started it there at that moment, and I started going to schools myself. But then I couldn't afford to. The only thing I could do is go to the internet. There's little internet houses in here where you can go in cafes, um, and you can go in and search for whatever if you don't have a computer.
Right.
At that time, I was bringing out what drugs, say crack, what it was, and I kept on giving them to the kids in schools. And but it was too much money for me, because I mean, it was a lot of kids at that moment. We're talking about 500 kids in one school, and I had to give them. So um, I don't know. I went inside the computer and the internet, and I looked at, and then Drug Free World came out, and I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "I got to do something." I sent a message to my dear friend Jessica, and she, from that moment on, everything just. Actually, I'm going to tell you a little story about. I don't know if I still have time.
Well, let's see. We still have time. Go ahead.
I got 5 more minutes. That's it. But I want to tell you that story
Well,
because it's amazing.
first, I want to say something to you so all our viewers can hear this. I am totally amazed the negative situations that you had to overcome and that you overcame them. And you're an example for all the politicians and officers of any country who are sitting there. And if they thought any different way, I'd like them to take a look at Mr. Mendez's story and this tremendous turnaround that he made that shows, number one, that people can change. Shows, number two, that everyone deserves a chance. It serves, number three, that we need to open our eyes and look more as if we were that person. What would we want for us? And not to be so rigid and so hard on ourselves. It's cold outside, and sometimes it's really hot outside, and the sun burns. But human beings can give love. So, Mr. Mendez, I want to validate you in the middle of the show and not wait to the end. And my hat's off to you because you've done so much. And thank you for what you're doing with your program and Drug Free World program. And go on with your story because I think your story is going to change a lot of things.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. And actually, that day, Jessica sent me the email back, and she said, "How many boxes do you need?" And I said, 5, at least 5. I told her, and I was in Guatemala. And I told my mom, look, this is happening. Look, they sending me this material. But when they sent it here, the boxes were lost. Somehow, some reason, somehow those boxes were gone. Okay, well, I told my mom, you know what? When are you coming? She says, I'm coming next month. I said, okay, hold on. I'll call you right back. And I called Jessica. I said, Jessica, this is what happened. The boxes are gone. But listen to me. Do me a favor. Send them to my mom. And my mom will come and deliver them to me here. Good. So she sent them 10 boxes. And my mom was carrying them in their suitcase. I mean, that thing was heavy. But my mom did it. She's my right hand. You know, my mom has been there for me since that moment. Since I came to Guatemala, she's been here because she knows that there's nobody here for me, you know. But the thing is that I thank Drug Free World because I am who I am right now, and I have done what I've done because of you guys, because of Drug Free World. Because I would have not made it. I probably would have gave up with the material because where am I going to get that money? You know, kids need to know knowledge is the key, you know? And I mean, that was so amazing. And since that moment on, I mean, I have done Drug Free World on the 22 departments of the PNC, which is the police department of prevention, drug prevention. And it's amazing because I've done it, and this is not to glorify myself, but this is to glorify whoever been there for me. I have the government somehow, some way, always needs the program, sees the Drug Free World, and they need it. Now they got other little things going on here with Drug Free World, and that's great because it helps everybody, you know. And a team, it's the key. I mean, we got to be a team. There's an E on team. We got to be together. And when I was here all alone for almost 6 years, but I was working with the government, and I still am with the justice system. I'm working with the police department. I have capacitado the fire department.
Right.
I mean, name it. I've done it here. So I mean, it's probably not noticeable because you don't hear it, but it's they know who I guess they know who Drug Free World is because of you guys. You guys brought it here, and I mean, I'm just a servant, you know, serving God and serving you guys, and bringing this amazing. And I say it this way because I feel it. It's amazing what you guys are doing, and all the credit, give it to you guys. Okay, I'm just a server, you know. I'm serving what they give me, you know. And this is the best thing, because if they would have told me when I was young, hey Tony, come here, don't do this because this is what's going to happen to you, I probably would have not done it, you know. But it's over. This is how I have grown. That it's over. The past is the past. Now I gotta confront the future, and I'm hitting every kid that I can, you know. And I've done it, gone to jail and everything. But once again, it's the knowledge.
You know what, Mr. Tony Mendez, you're a very humble guy. And even though you don't want to take any credit, I'm going to give you credit because what you do and what you're doing is something that we all need to look at. I'd like our viewers to take a look wherever they're watching this show and say to themselves, If Tony Mendez could do it, then I can do it too. And we can go to the schools like Tony Mendez has done. We can go to the prisons like Tony Mendez has done. We can visit the police department like Tony Mendez has done. We can visit the government and give them a solution so they don't have to put more kids in prison. So they don't have to put minorities in prison like Tony Mendez has done. And you know what? Your story today makes me so happy that I have had you on this show. And I know, and I'm going to predict something nice, that your program is going to be huge in a few years, and you're going to do Central America and much more than that. And then maybe this country will take a look at the immigration laws and the criminal laws, and will institute programs to really give people a chance to rehabilitate. So, Mr. Mendez, thank you for being there.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry we're running out of time, but I wanted to, with you, thank Drug Free World. You mentioned Jessica. She deserves some credit. Her name is Jessica Hoffman, the director of Drug Free World International. You can contact her out in Los Angeles. She's a great lady. At drugfreeworld.org, you can get the materials for free in 22 languages. And like Mr. Mendez said, Tony, who are we saving? We're saving our kids.
That's right.
And if we don't save our kids, what are we doing? Thank you for being on the show, Mr. Mendez.
Thank you, Dr. Ben.
You're an amazing human being, and I love that you're so humble. And, you know, I know if there's a war, I can count on you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. And for those of you watching, let's become Tony Mendez's of the world. Let's not wait till there's a problem. Let's help our kids before they get to junior high school. Get the material and educate. It's free. It's in 22 languages, drugfreeworld.org. Let's do it, and let's save our families. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Mendez. Have a great night.
You too.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet